Is your ladyship at home this afternoon?
Oh, yes. Who is called?
Lord Darlington, my lady.
Show him up. And I'm at home to anyone who calls.
Yes, my lady. Lord Darlington.
How do you do, Lady Windermere?
How do you do, Lord Darlington? No, I can't shake hands with you. My hands are all wet with these roses. Aren't they lovely? They came up from Selby this morning.
Oh, they are quite perfect. And what a wonderful fan. May I look at it?
Do. Pretty, isn't it? Look, it's got my name on it and everything.
Oh.
I've only just seen it myself. It's my husband's birthday present to me. Oh, you know today's my birthday.
No, is it really?
Yes, I am of age today. Quite an important day in my life, isn't it? Well, that's why I'm giving this party tonight. Do sit down.
I wish you had told me it was your birthday, Lady Windermere. I would have covered the whole street in front of your house with flowers for you to walk on. They are made for you.
Lord Darlington. You annoyed me last night at the Foreign Office. I'm afraid you are going to annoy me again.
I, Lady Windermere?
Oh, put it there, Parker. That will do. Won't you come over, Lord Darlington?
I'm quite miserable, Lady Windermere. You must tell me what I did.
Well, you kept on paying me elaborate compliments the whole evening.
Ah, nowadays we are all of us so hard up that the only pleasant things to pay are compliments. They are the only things we can pay.
No, I'm talking very seriously. You mustn't laugh. I'm quite serious. Now, I don't like compliments, and I don't see why a man should think he's pleasing a woman enormously when he says to her a whole heap of things that he doesn't mean.
Ah, but I did mean them.
I should hope not. I would be very sorry to quarrel with you, Lord Darlington. I like you very much, you know that, but I shouldn't like you at all if I thought you were what most other men are. Believe me, you're better than most other men, and I sometimes think you pretend to be worse.
We all have our little vanities, Lady Windermere.
Why do you make that your special one?
Nowadays, so many conceited people go about society pretending to be good that I think it shows a rather sweet and modest disposition to pretend to be bad. Besides, there's this to be said. If you pretend to be good, the world takes you very seriously. If you pretend to be bad, it doesn't. Such is the astounding stupidity of optimism.
Don't you want the world to take you seriously then, Lord Darlington?
No, not the world. Who are the people that the world takes seriously? All the dull people one can think of, from the bishops down to the boors. I should like you to take me very seriously, Lady Windermere. You, more than anyone else in life.
Why? Why me?
Because I think we might be great friends. Let us be great friends, Lady Windermere. You may want a friend someday.
Why do you say that?
Oh, we all want friends at times.
I think we are very good friends already, Lord Darlington. And we can always remain so, as long as you don't...
Don't what?
Well, don't spoil it by saying extravagant, silly things to me.
The Duchess of Berwick and Lady Agatha Carlisle.
Dear Margaret, I am so pleased to see you. You remember Agatha, don't you? How do you do, Lord Darlington? I won't let you know my daughter. You are far too wicked.
Oh, don't say that, Duchess. As a wicked man, I am a complete failure. Why, there are lots of people who say I've never really done anything wrong in the course of my entire life. Of course, they only say it behind my back.
Isn't he dreadful? Agatha, this is Lord Darlington, mind you. Don't believe a word he says. Oh, no tea, thank you, dear. We've just had tea at Lady Markby's. Such bad tea, too. It was quite undrinkable. I wasn't at all surprised. Her own son-in-law supplies it. Agatha is looking forward so much to your ball tonight, dear.
Oh, you mustn't think it's going to be a ball, Duchess. It is merely a dance in honor of my birthday, small and early.
Very small. Very early and very select, Duchess.
Of course it's going to be select. But we know that, my dear, about your house. Just one of the few houses in London I can take Agatha, and where I feel perfectly secure about dear Berwick. I don't know what society is coming to. The most dreadful people seem to go everywhere. They certainly come to my parties. The men get quite furious if one doesn't ask them. Really, someone should make a stand against it.
I will, Duchess. I shall have no one in my house about whom there is any scandal.
Oh, don't say that, Lady Windermere. I should never be admitted.
Oh, men don't matter. With women, it is different. We are good. Some of us are, at least. But we are positively getting elbowed into the corner. Our husbands would really forget our existence if we didn't remind them from time to time and nag them just to remind them that we have a perfectly legal right to do so.
It's a curious thing, Duchess. The game of marriage, which is a game, by the way, that is going out of fashion. The wives hold all the honors and invariably lose the odd trick.
The odd trick? Is that the husband, Lord Darlington?
It would rather be a good name for the modern husband.
Dear Lord Darlington, how thoroughly depraved you are.
Oh, Lord Darlington is trivial.
Oh, don't say that, Lady Windermere.
Why do you talk so trivially about life, then?
Because I think life is far too important a thing to ever talk seriously about it.
What does he mean? Do, as a concession to my poor wits, Lord Darlington, just explain to me what you really mean.
I think I had better not, Duchess. Nowadays, to be intelligible is to be found out. Goodbye. And now, Lady Windermere, goodbye. I may come tonight, mayn't I? Do let me come.
Yes, certainly. But you are not to say insincere, foolish things to people.
Ah, you are beginning to reform me. It is a dangerous thing to reform anyone, Lady Windermere.
What a charming, wicked creature. I like him so much. I'm quite delighted he's gone. How sweet you're looking. Where do you get your gowns? And now, I must tell you how very sorry I am for you, dear Margaret. Agatha, will you go look over the photograph album I see there?
Yes, Mama.
Sweet girl. So fond of photographs of Switzerland. Such a pure taste, I think. But I really am so sorry for you, Margaret.
Why, Duchess?
On account of that horrid woman. Oh, and she dresses so well, too, which only makes it worse. Set such a dreadful example. Augustus. You know my disreputable brother. Such a trial to us all. Well, Augustus is completely infatuated over her. 'Tis quite scandalous, for she is absolutely inadmissible into society. Many a woman has a past, but I am told she has at least a dozen, and that they all fit.
But whom are you talking about, Duchess?
About Mrs. Erlynne.
Mrs. Erlynne? I never heard of her, Duchess. But what has she to do with me?
Oh, poor child. Oh, Agatha, darling,
Yes, Mama.
will you go out on the terrace and look at the sunset?
Yes, Mama.
Such a sweet girl. So devoted to sunsets. Shows such refinement of feeling, don't you think? After all, there is nothing like nature, is there?
But what is it, Duchess? Why are you talking to me about this person?
Don't you really know? I assure you we are all so distressed about it. Only last night at dear Lady Johnson's, everyone was saying how extraordinary it was that of all men in London, Windermere should behave in such a way.
My husband? What has he got to do with any woman of that kind?
Ah, what indeed, dear? That is the point. He goes to see her continually and stops for hours at a time, and while he is there, she is not at home to anyone. Not that many ladies call on her, dear, but she has a great many disreputable men friends, my own brother particularly, as I told you. And that is what makes it so dreadful about Windermere. How we all looked upon him as being such a model husband. Oh, but I'm afraid there is no doubt about it. And the worst of it all is that I am told that this woman has got a great deal of money out of somebody. For it seems that she came to London 6 months ago without anything at all to speak of. And now she has this charming house in Mayfair, drives her ponies in the park every afternoon, and all since she has known poor dear Windermere.
I can't believe it.
Oh, but it's quite true, my dear. The whole of London knows it. That is why I thought it best to come and talk to you and advise you to take Windermere away at once to Hamburg or to X, where he'll have something to amuse him and where you can watch him all day long. I assure you, my dear, that on several occasions after I was first married, I had to pretend to be very ill and was obliged to drink the most unpleasant mineral waters merely to get Berwick out of town. He was so extremely susceptible. Although I am bound to say, he never gave away any money to anybody. He was far too high-principled for that.
Duchess, it's impossible. We're only married 2 years. Our child is but 6 months old.
Ah, the dear pretty baby. How is the little darling? Is it a boy or a girl? Oh, I hope it's a girl. Oh, no, I remember it's a boy. I am so sorry. Boys are so wicked. My boy is excessively immoral. You wouldn't believe at what hours he comes home. And he's only left Oxford a few months. I really don't know what they teach them there.
Are all men bad?
Oh, all of them, my dear. All of them, without exception. And they never grow any better. Men become old, but they never become good.
Windermere and I married for love.
Huh, yes. We begin like that. And now I must go, as we are dining out. And don't take this aberration of Windermere's too much to heart. Just take him abroad and he'll come back to you all right.
Come back to me.
Yes, dear. These wicked women get our husbands away from us, but they always come back. Slightly damaged, of course. And don't make scenes. Men hate them.
It's very kind of you, Duchess, to come and tell me all this, but I can't believe my husband is untrue to me.
Pretty child. I was like that once. Now I know that all men are monsters. The only thing to do is to feed the wretches well. A good cook works wonders, and that I know you have. Margaret, you are not going to cry.
Oh, you needn't worry, Duchess. I never cry.
That's quite right, dear. Crying is the refuge of plain women, but the ruin of pretty ones. Agatha, darling.
Yes, Mama.
Come bid goodbye to Lady Windermere and thank her for your charming visit. Oh, and, by the way, I must thank you for sending a card to Mr. Hopper. He's that rich young Australian people are taking such notice of just at present. His father made a great fortune selling some kind of food in circular tins. Most palatable, I believe. I fancy it is the thing the servants always refuse to eat. But the son is most interesting. I think he's attracted to Agatha's clever talk. Of course, we should be very sorry to lose her, but I think that a mother that doesn't part with a daughter every season has no real affection. And goodbye once more. Come, Agatha.
No, it can't be true. She spoke of enormous sums of money paid this woman. I know where Arthur keeps his bank books. I knew it. There is not a word of truth in that stupid story. Second book. Private. Locked. Mrs. Erlynne, £600. Mrs. Erlynne, £700. Mrs. Erlynne, £400. Oh, it is true. It is true. How horrible.
Well, dear, has the fan been sent home yet? Margaret, you have cut open my bank book. You have no right to do such a thing.
You think it wrong you are found out, don't you?
I think it wrong that a wife should spy on her husband.
I did not spy on you. I never even knew of this woman's existence till half an hour ago. Someone who pitied me was kind enough to tell me what everyone in London knows already. Your daily visits to Curzon Street, your mad infatuation, the monstrous sums of money you squander on this infamous woman.
Margaret, don't talk like that of Mrs. Erlynne. You don't know how unjust it is.
You are very jealous of Mrs. Erlynne's honour. I wish you had been as jealous of mine.
Your honor is untouched, Margaret. You don't think
I think you spend your money strangely, that is all. Oh, don't imagine I mind about the money. Oh, as far as I am concerned, you may squander everything we have. But what I do mind is that you, who have loved me, you who have taught me to love you, should pass from the love that is given to the love that is bought. Oh, it's horrible. And it is I who feel degraded. You don't feel anything. I feel stained, utterly stained. But you can't realize how hideous the last 6 months seem to me now. Every kiss you have given me is tainted in my memory.
Don't say that, Margaret. I never loved anyone in the whole world but you.
Who is this woman, then? Why do you take a house for her?
I did not take a house for her.
But you gave her the money to do it, which is the same thing.
Margaret, as far as I have known Mrs. Erlynne...
Is there Mr. Erlynne? Or is he a myth?
Her husband died many years ago. She is alone in the world.
No relations.
None.
Rather curious, isn't it?
Margaret, I was saying to you, and I beg you to listen to me, that as far as I have known Mrs. Erlynne, she has conducted herself well. If years ago...
Oh, I don't want details about her life.
I'm not going to give you any details about her life. I tell you simply this. Mrs. Erlynne was once honoured, loved, respected. She was well born. She had position. She lost everything. Threw it away, if you like. That makes it all the more bitter. Misfortunes one can endure. They come from outside. They are accidents. But to suffer for one's own faults, there is the sting of life. It was 20 years ago, too. She was little more than a girl then. She had been a wife for even less time than you have.
I'm not interested in her. And you should not mention this woman and me in the same breath. It is an error of taste.
Margaret, you could save this woman. She wants to get back into society, and she wants you to help her.
Me?
Yes, you.
How impertinent of her!
Margaret, I came to ask you a great favour, and I still ask it of you. Though you have discovered what I intended, you should never have known that I have given Mrs. Erlynne a large sum of money. I want you to send her an invitation for our party tonight.
You are mad!
I entreat you. People may chatter about her, do chatter about her, of course, but they don't know anything definite against her. She has been to several houses. Not to houses where you would go, I admit, but still to houses where women who are in what is called society nowadays do go. That does not content her. She wants you to receive her once.
As a triumph for her, I suppose.
No, but because she knows that you are a good woman, and that if she comes here once, she will have a chance of a happier, a surer life than she has had. She will make no further effort to know you. Won't you help a woman who is trying to get back?
No. Oh, if a woman really repents, she never wishes to return to the society that has made or seen her ruin.
I beg of you.
I'm going to dress for dinner. And don't mention the subject again this evening. Arthur, you fancy because I have no father or mother that I am alone in the world. You are wrong. I have friends, many friends.
Margaret, you are talking foolishly, recklessly. I won't argue with you, but I insist upon your asking Mrs. Erlynne tonight.
I shall do nothing of the kind.
You refuse?
Absolutely.
Margaret, do this for my sake. It is her last chance.
What has that to do with me?
How hard good women
Oh,
are.
how weak bad men are.
Margaret, none of us men may be good enough for the women we marry. That is quite true. But you don't imagine I would ever... Oh, the suggestion is monstrous.
Why should you be different from other men? I am told that there is hardly a husband in London who does not waste his life over some shameful passion.
I am not one of them.
I am not sure of that.
You are sure in your heart. But don't make chasm after chasm between us. God knows the last few minutes have thrust us wide enough apart. Sit down and write the card.
Nothing in the whole world would induce me.
Then I will.
You are going to invite this woman?
Yes. Parker?
Yes, my lord.
Have this note sent to Mrs. Erlynne at number 84A, Curzon Street. There is no answer.
Yes, my lord.
Arthur, if that woman comes here, I shall insult her.
Margaret, don't say that.
I mean it.
Child, if you did such a thing, there's not a woman in London who wouldn't pity you.
There is not a good woman in London who would not applaud me. We have been too lax, and we must make an example. Yes, I propose we begin tonight. Yes. You gave me this fan, It was your birthday present. If that woman crosses my threshold, I shall strike her across the face with it.
Margaret, you couldn't do such a thing.
You don't know me. Parker,
Yes, my lady.
I shall dine in my own room tonight. And actually, I don't want dinner, in fact. See that everything is ready by 10:30. Oh, and Parker, be sure you pronounce the names of the guests very distinctly tonight. Sometimes you speak so fast that I miss them. I am particularly anxious to hear the names of the guests very clearly so as to make no mistake. You understand, Parker?
Yes, my lady.
That will do. Arthur, if that woman comes here, I warn you.
Margaret, you'll ruin us.
Us? Oh, from this moment, my life shall be separate from yours. But if you wish to avoid a public scandal, write at once to this woman and tell her I forbid her to come here.
I will not. I cannot. She must come.
Then I shall do exactly as I have said. You leave me no choice.
Margaret. Margaret!
Margaret, I want to speak to you.
Lord Darlington.
In a moment.
Lady Windermere.
Lord Augustus Lawton.
Good evening, Lady Windermere.
Good evening.
I want to speak to you particularly, dear boy.
I'm worn to a shadow. No, I don't look it. None of us men do look what we really are. Damn good thing, too. What I want to know is this. Who is she? Where does she come from? Why hasn't she got any damn relations? Damn nuisance relations, but they make one so damn respectable.
You were talking of Mrs. Erlynne, I suppose? I only met her 6 months ago. Till then, I never knew of her existence.
Oh, you've seen a good deal of her since then.
Yes, I have seen a good deal of her since then. I have just seen her.
Egad. Well, the women are very down on her. I've been dining with Arabella this evening. By Jove, you should have heard what she said about Mrs. Erlynne. Didn't leave a rag on her. Berwick and I told her that didn't matter much, as the lady in question must have an extremely fine figure. You should have seen Arabella's expression. But look here, dear boy, I don't know what to do about Mrs. Erlynne. Egad, I might be married to her. She treats me with such damned indifference. She's deuced clever, too. She explains everything. Egad, she explains you. She's got any amount of explanations for you, all of them different.
No explanations are necessary about my friendship with Mrs. Erlynne.
Yes, well... Look here, dear old fellow. Do you think she will ever get into this damn thing called society? Would you introduce her to your wife? No use beating about the confounded bush. Would you do that?
Mrs. Erlynne is coming here tonight.
Your wife has sent her a card?
Mrs. Erlynne has received a card.
Well, she's all right then. But why didn't you tell me this before? Would have saved me a heap of worry and damn misunderstandings.
Mr. Cecil Graham.
Good evening, Arthur. Why don't you ask me how I am? I like it when people ask me how I am. Now, tonight, I'm not at all well. Been dining with my people. Wonder why it is one's people are always so tedious? My father would talk morality after dinner. I told him he was old enough to know better. But from my experience, as soon as people are old enough to know better, they don't know anything at all. Oh, hello, Tuppy. Heard you're going to be married again. Thought you were tired of that game.
You're excessively trivial, dear boy. Excessively trivial.
By the way, Tuppy, which is it? Have you been twice married and once divorced, or twice divorced and once married? I say you've been twice divorced and once married. It seems so much more probable.
I have a very bad memory. I really don't remember which.
Mr. Harper.
How do you do, Lady Windermere?
How do you do? Please.
How do you do, Duchess?
Dear Mr. Hopper, how nice of you to come so early. We all know how you are run after in London.
Capital place, London, but not nearly so exclusive in London as they are in Sydney.
Ah, we know your value, Mr. Hopper. We wish there were more like you. It would make life so much easier. Do you know, Mr. Hopper, Agatha and I are so much interested in Australia. It must be so pretty with all the dear little kangaroos flying about. Agatha has found it on the map. Such a curious shape it is, just like a large packing case. However, it is a very young country, isn't it?
Wasn't it made at the same time as the others, Duchess?
How clever you are, Mr. Harper. You have a cleverness all of your own. Now, I mustn't keep you.
But I should like to dance with Lady Agatha, Duchess.
Oh, well, I hope she has a dance left. Have you a dance left, Agatha?
Yes, Mama.
The next one?
Yes, Mama.
May I have the pleasure?
Mind you, take great care of my little chatterbox.
Mrs. Erlynne. Lady Windermere, you have dropped your fan.
How charming your sweet wife looks. Quite a picture.
It was terribly rash of you to come.
The wisest thing I ever did in my life. And by the way, you must pay me a good deal of attention this evening. I'm afraid of the women. You must introduce me to some of them. The men I can always manage. How do you do, Lord Augustus? You have quite neglected me lately. I haven't seen you since yesterday. I'm afraid you're faithless. Everyone told me so.
Now, really, Mrs. Erlynne, allow me to explain.
No, dear Lord Augustus. You can't explain anything. It's your chief charm.
If you find charms in me, Mrs. Erlynne.
I do indeed.
Come. You look faint. Come out in the hall.
How do you do, Mr. Graham? Isn't that your Aunt Lady Jedburgh? I should so much like to know her.
Oh, certainly, if you like. Aunt Caroline, may I introduce to you Mrs. Erlynne?
So pleased to meet you, Lady Jedburgh. Your nephew and I are great friends. I'm so much interested in his political career. I think he's sure to be a wonderful success. He thinks like a Tory and talks like a radical, and that's so important nowadays. He's such a brilliant talker, too. But we all know from whom he inherits that. Lord Allendale was saying to me only yesterday in the park that Mr. Graham talks almost as well as his aunt.
Most kind of you to say these charming things to me.
Did you introduce Mrs. Erlynne to Lady Jedburgh?
Couldn't help it. That woman can make one do anything she wants. How, I don't know.
Hope to goodness she won't speak to me.
Yes, her coming here is monstrous, unbearable. He insisted on her coming, against my entreaties, against my commands. The house is tainted for me now. But I feel that every woman here sneers at me as she dances by with my husband. But what have I done to deserve this? I gave him my life, and he took it, used it, spoiled it. But I am degraded in my own eyes, and I have no courage. I'm a coward.
If I know you at all, I know you can't stand to live with a man who treats you like this. What sort of life would you have with him? You would feel that he was lying to you every moment of the day. You would feel that the look in his eyes was false, his voice false, his touch false, his passion false. He would come to you when he was weary of others. You would have to comfort him. He would come to you when he was devoted to others. You would have to charm him. You would have to be to him the mask of his real life, the cloak to hide his secret.
But you are right. You are entirely right. Oh, but where am I to turn to, Lord Darlington? You said you would be my friend. Tell me, what am I to do? Be my friend now.
Between men and women, there is no friendship possible. There is passion, enmity, worship, love, but no friendship. I love you.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, I love you. More than anything in the whole world. What does your husband give you? Nothing. I offer you my life.
Lord Darlington.
Yes, my life. My whole life. Take it and do with it what you will.
On Thursday. With great pleasure. What a bore it is to have to be civil to these old dowagers, but they always insist on it.
Who is that well-dressed woman talking to Windermere?
Haven't the slightest idea. Looks to be an edition de luxe of a wicked French novel, meant specially for the English market.
So that is poor Dumby with Lady Plymdale. I hear she's frightfully jealous of him. He doesn't seem anxious to speak to me tonight. I suppose he's afraid of her. Those straw-coloured women have dreadful tempers. Do you know, I think I'll dance with you first, Windermere. It'll make Lord Augustus so jealous. Lord Augustus, Lord Windermere insists on my dancing with him first, and as it's his own house, I can't well refuse. You know I would much sooner dance with you.
I wish I could believe so, Mrs. Erlynne.
You know it far too well. I can fancy a person dancing through life with you and finding it charming.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You are the most adorable of all ladies.
Oh, what a nice speech. So simple and so sincere. Well, you shall hold my bouquet.
I love you. Oh, I love you like I have never loved any living thing. From the moment I met you, I loved you. Blindly, adoringly, madly. You did not know it then, you know it now. Leave this house tonight. Now, I won't tell you that the world matters nothing, or the world's voice, or the voice of society. They matter a great deal. They matter far too much. But there comes a time in one's life when one has to choose between living one's own life fully, completely, entirely, or dragging out some false, shallow, degrading existence that the world and its hypocrisy demands. You have that moment now. Choose. Oh, my love, choose.
I have not the courage.
Yes. Yes, you have the courage. There may be 6 months of pain, of disgrace even. But when you no longer bear his name, when you bear mine, all will be well. Oh, Margaret, my love, my wife, that shall be someday. Yes, my wife, you know it. What are you now? This woman has the place that by right belongs to you. Oh, go out of this house with head erect, with courage in your eyes, with a smile upon your lips. All London will know why you did it. And who will blame you? No one.
Oh, Mr. Dumby, how are you? I'm so sorry I have been out the last 3 times you have called. Come and lunch on Friday.
Delighted.
What an absolute brute you are. I really never can believe a word you say. Why did you tell me you didn't know her? And what do you mean by calling on her 3 times running? You are not to go to lunch there. Of course you understand that.
My dear Laura, I wouldn't dream of going.
You haven't told me her name yet. Who is she?
Mrs. Erlynne.
That woman?
Yes, that is what everyone calls her.
How very interesting. How intensely interesting. I really must have a good stare at her. I've heard the most shocking things about her. They say she's ruining poor Windermere. And Lady Windermere, who goes in for being so proper, invites her. How extremely amusing. It takes a thoroughly good woman to do a thoroughly stupid thing. You are to lunch there on Friday.
Why?
Because I want you to take my husband with you. He has been so attentive lately that he has become a perfect nuisance. Now, this woman is just the thing for him. He'll dance attendance upon her as long as she lets him, and won't bother me. I assure you, women of that kind are most useful. They form the basis of other people's marriages.
What a mystery you are.
I wish you were.
Yeah, I am, to myself. I'm the only person in the world I should like to know thoroughly. I just don't see a chance of it just at present.
Just give me time to think. Look, I cannot answer you now.
It must be now, or not at all.
Then not at all.
You break my heart.
Mine is already broken.
Tomorrow, I leave England. This is the last time I shall ever look on you. We shall never see each other again. For one moment, our lives met, our souls touched. They shall never meet or touch again. Goodbye, Margaret.
alone.
Dear Margaret, I have just been having the most delightful chat with Mrs. Erlynne. I am so sorry for what I said this afternoon about her. Of course, she must be all right if you invite her. Such an attractive woman and has such sensible views on life. Told me she entirely disapproved of people marrying more than once, so of course I feel quite safe about poor Augustus. I can't imagine why people speak against her. Oh, it's those horrid nieces of mine, the Savile girls. They're always talking scandal. Still, I should go to Hamburg, I really should. But where is Agatha? Ah, there she is. Agatha, darling.
Yes,
Mr.
Mamma.
Hopper, I am very, very angry with you. You have taken Agatha out on the terrace and she is most delicate.
Awfully sorry, Duchess. We stepped out for a moment and got chatting together.
Ah, about Australia?
Yes.
Agatha, darling.
Yes, Mamma.
Did Mr. Hopper most definitely?
Yes, Mamma.
And what answer did you give him, dear child?
Yes, Mamma.
Oh, my dear one, you always say the right thing. Mr. Hopper, James, Agatha has told me everything. How cleverly you both have kept your secret.
Then you don't mind my taking Agatha off to Australia then, Duchess?
To Australia?
Yes.
Oh, don't mention that dreadful, vulgar place.
But she said she'd like to come with me, Duchess.
Agatha, did you say that?
Yes, Mamma.
My dear Agatha, you say the silliest things possible. I think, on the whole, that Grosvenor Square is a much healthier place to reside in. There are lots of vulgar people live in Grosvenor Square, but at any rate, there are no horrid kangaroos crawling about. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. You may take Agatha down, James. You'll come to lunch tomorrow, of course, at 1:30 instead of 2. The Duke will have a few words to you to say, I'm sure.
I should like to speak with the Duke, Duchess. He hasn't said a single word to me yet.
Oh, I'm sure you'll find he has quite a few words to say to you tomorrow. And now, good night, Margaret. I'm afraid it's the old, old story. Love. Well, not love at first sight, but love at the end of the season, which I think is so much more satisfactory.
My dear Margaret, what a handsome woman your husband has been dancing with. Is she a great friend of yours?
No.
Really? Oh, good night, dear.
Awful manners young Harper has.
Ah, Harper is one of nature's gentlemen. The worst kind of gentleman I know.
A sensible woman, Lady Windermere. Most wives would have objected to Mrs. Erlynne coming. Lady Windermere has that uncommon thing, common sense.
And Windermere knows nothing looks so like innocence as an indiscretion.
Yes. Dear Windermere, he's becoming almost modern. Didn't think he would. Oh, it's time to...
Indeed.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Oh, good night, Lady Windermere. Oh, what a fascinating woman Mrs. Erlynne is. She's coming to lunch on Thursday. Won't you come too? I expect the Bishop and dear Lady Merton.
Oh, I am afraid I am otherwise engaged, Lady Jedburgh.
Oh, so sorry. Good night, dear.
Charming ball it has been. Quite reminds me of old days. And I see that there are just as many fools in society as there used to be. So pleased to find that nothing has altered. Except Margaret. She's grown quite pretty. The last time I saw her 20 years ago, she was a fright in flannel. Positive fright, I assure you. Oh, the dear Duchess. And that sweet Lady Agatha, just the type of girl I like. Well, if I am to be the Duchess's sister-in-law...
But are you?
Oh, yes. He's to call tomorrow at 12 o'clock. He wanted to propose tonight. In fact, he did. He kept on proposing. Poor Augustus. You know how he repeats himself. Such a bad habit. But I told him I wouldn't give him an answer till tomorrow. Of course, I'm going to take him, and I dare say I'll make him an admirable wife, as wives go. And there's a great deal of good in Lord Augustus. Fortunately, it is all on the surface, just where good qualities should be. Of course, you must help me in this matter.
I'm not called on to encourage Lord Augustus, I suppose.
Oh, no. I do the encouraging. But you will make me a handsome settlement, Windermere, won't you?
Is that what you want to talk to me about tonight?
Yes.
I will not talk of that here.
Then we shall talk of it in private.
Won't tomorrow do as well?
No. You see, tomorrow I'm going to accept him. And I think it would be a good idea if I was able to tell him that, well, what shall I say? £2,000 a year left to me by a third cousin or a second husband or some distant relative of that kind? It would be an additional attraction, wouldn't it? You have a delightful opportunity now of paying me a compliment, Windermere. Oh, but you're not very clever at paying compliments. I'm afraid Margaret doesn't encourage you in that excellent habit. It's a great mistake on her part. When men give up saying what is charming, they give up thinking what is charming. But seriously, what do you say to £2,000? £2,500, I think. In modern life, margin is everything. Oh, Windermere, don't you find the world an intensely amusing place? I do.
To stay in this house any longer is impossible. Oh, tonight, a man who loves me offered me his whole life. I refused it. God, it was foolish of me. I will offer him mine now. I will give him mine. Oh, Arthur never understood me. Oh, when he reads this letter, he will. He may do as he chooses now with his life. I have done with mine as I think right, as I think best. Oh, it is he who has broken the bond of marriage, not I. Oh, I only break its bondage.
Is Lady Windermere in the ballroom?
No, madam. Her ladyship has just gone out.
Gone out? She's not on the terrace?
No, madam. Her ladyship has just gone out of the house.
Out of the house?
Yes, madam. Her ladyship has told me that she had left a letter for his lordship on the table.
A letter for Lord Windermere?
Yes, madam.
Thank you. Gone out of her house? A letter addressed to her husband? No, it would be impossible. Life doesn't repeat its tragedies like that. Oh, why does this horrible fancy come across me? Why do I remember the one moment in my life I most wish to forget? Does life repeat its tragedies? Oh, how terrible. The same words that 20 years ago I wrote to her father. Oh, and how bitterly I have been punished for it. No. My punishment, my real punishment is tonight. Is now.
You have said goodnight to my wife?
Yes. She is very tired. She has gone to bed. She said she had a headache.
I must go to her. You'll excuse me.
Oh, no, she doesn't wish to be disturbed. She's just very tired, that is all. Besides, there are people still in the supper room. She wants you to make her apologies to them. She asked me to tell you.
You have dropped something.
Oh, yes, that is mine.
But it is my wife's handwriting.
Yes, it's an address. Will you ask them to call my carriage, please?
Certainly.
What can I do? What can I do? I feel a passion awakening within me I never felt before. What can it mean? The daughter must not be like the mother. That would be terrible. How can I save her? How can I save my child? A moment may ruin a life. Who knows that better than I? Windermere must be got out of the house. That is absolutely necessary. But how shall I do it? Oh, it must be done somehow.
Dear lady, I am in such suspense. May I not have an answer to my request?
Lord Augustus, listen to me. You are to take Lord Windermere down to your club and keep him there as long as possible. You understand?
But you said you wished me to keep early hours.
Do what I tell you. Do what I tell you.
And my reward.
Your reward? Your reward? Oh, ask me that tomorrow. But don't let Windermere out of your sight tonight. If you do, I will never forgive you. I will never speak to you again. I'll have nothing to do with you. Remember, you're to keep Windermere at your club and don't let him come back tonight.
Well, really? I might be married to her already. Positively, I might.
It was mad of me to come here. Horribly mad. And yet, which is the worst, I wonder? To be at the mercy of a man who loves one, or the wife of a man who in one's own house dishonors one. What woman knows? What woman in the whole world? Will he love me always? This man to whom I am giving my life, for what do I bring him? Lips that have lost the note of joy, eyes that are blighted by tears, chill hands, an icy heart. I bring him nothing. I must go back. No. No, I can't go back. My letter has put me in their power. Oh, Arthur would never take me back. Oh, that fatal letter! No. No. Lord Darlington leaves England tomorrow. I will go with him. I have no choice. No. No, I must go back. Oh, let Arthur do with me what he pleases. I can't wait here. It has been madness my coming. As for Lord Darlington... Oh, here he is. Oh, what shall I do? What can I say to him? Oh, will he let me go away at all? I have heard that men are brutal, horrible. Oh.
Lady Windermere, thank heaven I am in time. You must go back to your husband's house immediately.
Must?
Yes, you must. There's not a second to be lost. Lord Darlington may return at any time.
Don't come near me.
Oh, you are on the brink of ruin. You are on the brink of a hideous precipice. You must leave this place at once. What are you doing?
Mrs. Erlynne, if you had not come, I would have gone back. But now that I see you, I feel there is nothing in the whole world which induce me to live under the same roof as Lord Windermere. You fill me with horror. There is something about you that stirs the wildest rage within me. And I know why you are here. Oh, my husband sent you to lure me back, that I might serve as a blind to whatever relations exist between you and him.
You don't think that. You can't.
Go back to my husband, Mrs. Erlynne. He belongs to you, not to me. I suppose he's afraid of some scandal. Men are such cowards. They outrage every law of the world and are afraid of the world's tongue. Oh, but he had better prepare himself. He shall have a scandal. Oh, he shall have the worst scandal there has been in London for years. He shall see his name in every vile paper, mine on every hideous placard.
No, no.
Yes, he shall. Oh, had he come himself, I admit, I would have gone back to the life of degradation you and he had prepared for me. I was going back. But to stay himself at home and to send you as his messenger, oh, that is infamous. Infamous.
Lady Windermere, you wrong me horribly. You wrong your husband horribly. He does not know that you are here. He thinks you are safe in your own house. He thinks you are asleep in your own room. He never read the mad letter you wrote him.
Never read it?
No, he knows nothing about it.
Oh, how simple you think me. You are lying to me.
I'm not. I'm telling you the truth.
If my husband didn't read my letter, how is it that you are here? Who told you I had left the house you were shameless enough to enter? Who told you where I had gone to? My husband told you and sent you to decoy me back.
Your husband has never seen the letter. I saw it. I opened it. I read it.
You opened a letter of mine to my husband? You wouldn't dare.
Dare? Oh, to save you from the abyss into which you were falling, there is nothing in the world I would not dare. Nothing in the whole world. Here is the letter. Your husband has never read it. He never shall read it.
How do I know that that was my letter after all? Oh, you seem to think the commonest device can take me in.
Why do you disbelieve everything I tell you? What object do you think I have in coming here, except to save you from utter ruin, to save you from the consequence of a hideous mistake? That letter that is burning now was your letter, I swear it to you.
But you took good care to burn it before I had examined it.
I cannot trust you. You, whose whole life is a lie, could you speak the truth about anything?
Think as you like about me, say what you choose against me, but go back to the husband you love.
I do not love him.
You do, and you know that he loves you.
He does not understand what love is. God, he understands it as little as you do. But I see what you want. Oh, it would be a great advantage for you to get me back. Oh, dear heaven. The life I would have then. Living at the mercy of a woman who has neither mercy nor pity in her. Oh, a woman whom it is an infamy to meet, a degradation to know. A vile woman, a woman who comes between husband and wife.
Lady Windermere, don't say such terrible things. You don't know how terrible they are. How terrible and how unjust. Oh, listen, you must listen. Only go back to your husband, and I promise you never to communicate with him again on any pretext. Never to see him, never to have anything to do with his life or yours. The money he gave me not through love, but through hatred. Not in worship, but in contempt. The hold I have over him...
Oh, you admit you have a hold?
Yes. And I'll tell you what it is. It is his love for you, Lady Windermere.
You expect me to believe that?
Oh, you must believe it. It is true. It is his love that has made him submit to... Call it what you like. Tyranny, threats, anything you choose. But it is his love for you. His desire to spare you shame. Shame and disgrace.
What do you mean? God, you are insolent. What have I to do with you?
Nothing. I know it. But I tell you that your husband loves you. That you may never meet with such love again in your whole life. That such love you will never meet. And that if you throw it away, the day may come when you will starve for love and it will not be given to you. Beg for love and it will be denied you. Oh, Arthur loves you.
And you say there is nothing between you?
Oh, Lady Windermere. Before heaven, your husband is guiltless of all offence towards you. And I tell you that had it ever occurred to me that such a monstrous suspicion would have entered your mind, I would have died rather than have crossed your life or his. Oh, died, gladly died.
You talk as if you had a heart. Women like you have no hearts. Heart is not in you. You are bought and sold.
Believe what you choose about me. I am not worth a moment's sorrow. But don't spoil your beautiful young life on my account. You don't know what may be in store for you unless you leave this house at once. You don't know what it is to fall into the pit, to be abandoned, sneered at, mocked, to be an outcast, to have the doors shut against one, to have to creep in by hideous byways, afraid every moment lest the mask should be stripped from one's face. And all the while to hear the laughter, the horrible laughter of the world, a thing more tragic than all the tears the world has ever shed. You don't know what it is. One pays for one's sin and then one pays again, and all one's life one pays. You must never know that. As for me, if suffering be an expiation, then at this moment I've expiated all my faults. For tonight you have made a heart in one who had it not. Made it and broken it. But let that pass. I may have wrecked my own life, but I will not let you wreck yours. Why, you're a mere girl. You would be lost. You haven't got the kind of brains that enables a woman to get back. You have neither the wit nor the courage. You couldn't stand dishonor. Go back to your husband, Lady Windermere. Your husband loves you.
You have a child, Lady Windermere. Go back to that child, who even now in pain or in joy may be calling to you. God gave you that child. He will require from you that you make his life fine, that you watch over him. What answer will you make to God if his life is ruined through you? Go back to your husband, Lady Windermere. He has never swerved for a moment from the love he bears you. But even if he had 1,000 loves, you must stay with your child. If he was harsh to you, you must stay with your child. If he ill-treated you, you must stay with your child. If he abandoned you, your place is with your child. Lady Windermere.
Take me home. Take me home.
Come. Here, come on.
Oh, stop.
Don't you hear voices?
No, there's no one.
Yes, there is. Listen.
What is it, Cecil?
Oh, that is my husband. He's coming in. Oh, save me.
There. The first chance you have, slip out. If you ever get a chance.
But you...
Oh, don't mind me. I'll face them.
My dear boy.
Lord Augustus. Then it is I who am lost.
Nonsense, dear Windermere. Let's not leave me.
What a nuisance they're turning us out of the club at this hour. It's only 2 o'clock. Lively part of the evening's only just beginning.
It's very good of you, Lord Darlington, allowing Augustus to force our company on you. I'm afraid I can't stay long.
Oh, really? I'm so sorry. You'll take a cigar, won't you?
Thanks.
Dear boy, you must not dream of going. I have a lot to talk to you about. Damned importance, too.
Oh, we all know what that is. Topic can't talk about anything but Mrs. Erlynne.
That's no business of yours, is it, Cecil?
None. That's why it interests me. Unboard business always bores me to death. I prefer other people's.
Have something to drink, you fellows. Cecil, you'll have a whiskey and soda?
Thanks. Mrs. Erlynne looked very handsome tonight, didn't she?
I am not one of her admirers.
I wasn't, but I am now. Why, she actually made me introduce her to my dear Aunt Caroline. I believe she's going to lunch there.
No.
She is, really.
Clever woman, Mrs. Erlynne.
Hello, Dumby. Thought you were asleep.
I am. I usually am.
Very clever woman. Knows perfectly well what a damn fool I am. Knows it as well as I do myself. Now, you may laugh, dear boy, but it is a great thing to come upon a woman who thoroughly understands.
It is an awfully dangerous thing. They always end up marrying one.
But I thought, Tubby, that you were never going to see her again. Yes, you told me so yesterday evening at the club. You told me that you had heard.
She's explained that.
And the Wiesbaden affair?
She's explained that, too.
And her income, Tuppy. Has she explained that?
She's going to explain that tomorrow.
Awfully commercial women nowadays. Our grandmothers threw their caps over the mills, of course. But by Jove, their granddaughters only throw their caps over the mills that bring the wind for them.
You want to make her out a wicked woman. She is not.
Wicked women bother one, good women bore one. That is the only difference between them.
Mrs. Erlynne has a future before her.
Mrs. Erlynne has a past before her.
I prefer women with a past. They're always so damned amusing to talk to.
You'll have lots of topics of conversation with her, Tuppy.
You're getting annoying, dear boy. You're getting damned annoying.
My dear Tuppy, you've lost your figure and you've lost your character. Don't lose your temper. You've only got one.
My dear boy, if I wasn't the most good-natured man in London,
We'd treat you with more respect, now wouldn't we, Tuppy?
The youth of today are quite monstrous. They have absolutely no respect for dyed hair.
Mrs. Erlynne has a very great respect for our dear Tuppy.
Then Mrs. Erlynne has set an admirable example for the rest of her sex. It is perfectly brutal the way most women nowadays behave to men who are not their husbands.
Dumby, you are ridiculous. And Cecil, you let your tongue run away with you. You must leave Mrs. Erlynne alone. You don't really know anything about her, and you're always talking scandal against her.
My dear Arthur, I never talk scandal. I only talk gossip.
What is the difference between scandal and gossip?
Oh. Gossip is charming. History is merely gossip. But scandal is gossip made tedious by morality. Now, I never moralize. A man who moralizes is usually a hypocrite, and a woman who moralizes is invariably plain. There's nothing in the world so unbecoming as a nonconformist conscience. Most women know this, I'm happy to say.
Just my sentiments, dear boy. Just my sentiments.
I'm sorry to hear that, Tuppy. Whenever someone agrees with me, I feel I always must be wrong.
My dear boy, when I was your age...
But you never were, Tuppy. And you never will be. I say, Darlington, let us have some cards. You'll play Arthur, won't you?
No thanks, Cecil.
Good heavens, how marriage ruins a man. It's as demoralizing as cigarettes and far more expensive.
You'll play, of course, Tuppy.
Can't, dear boy. Promise Mrs. Erlynne never to play or drink again.
Now, my dear Tuppy, don't be led astray into the paths of virtue. Reformed you'd be perfectly tedious. That is the worst of women. They always want one to be good. And if we are good when they meet us, they don't love us at all. They like to find us quite irretrievably bad and then to leave us quite unattractively good.
They always do find us bad.
I don't think we are bad. I think we're all good. Except for Tuppy.
No. We are all in the gutter. But some of us are looking at the stars.
We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Upon my word, you are romantic tonight, Darlington.
Too romantic.
You must be in love. Who is the woman?
The woman I love is not free, or thinks she isn't.
A married woman, then? Well, there's nothing in the world like the devotion of a married woman. It's a thing no married man ever knows anything about.
Oh, she doesn't love me. She's a good woman. She's the only good woman I have ever met in my entire life.
The only good woman you've ever met in your entire life? Why then, you are a lucky fellow. I've met hundreds of good women. I never seem to meet any but good women. The world is perfectly packed with good women. To know good women is a middle-class education.
This woman has innocence and purity. She has everything we men have lost.
What good should we men do going about the world with purity and innocence? A well-thought-out buttonhole is a much more effective approach.
So, she does not love you then?
No, she doesn't.
I congratulate you, my dear fellow. In this world, there are only two real tragedies. One is not getting what one wants, and the other is getting it. The last is much the worst. The last is the real tragedy. But I'm interested to hear that she does not love you. How long could you love a woman who didn't love you, Cecil?
A woman who didn't love me? Oh, all my life.
So could I. But it's so difficult to meet one.
How can you be so conceited, Dumby?
I didn't say it as a matter of conceit. I said it as a matter of regret. I have been wildly, madly adored. I'm sorry, I have. It has been an immense nuisance. I should like to be allowed a little time to myself now and then.
Time to educate yourself, I suppose.
No, to forget all I've learned. That's much more important.
What cynics you fellows are.
What is a cynic?
A man who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing.
And a sentimentalist, my dear Darlington, is a man who sees an absurd value in everything and doesn't know the market price of a single thing.
You always amuse me, Cecil. You speak as if you're a man of experience.
I am.
You are far too young.
That is a great error. Experience is a question of instinct on life. I have got it. Tuppy hasn't. Experience is the name that Tuppy gives to his mistakes.
Experience is the name everyone gives to their mistakes.
One shouldn't commit any.
Life would be very dull without them.
Darlington, you are quite faithful to this woman you love, this good woman.
Cecil, if one really loves a woman, all other women become absolutely meaningless. Love changes one. I am changed.
How very interesting. Tuppy, I would like to speak with you.
Oh, it's no use talking to Tuppy. You might as well talk to a brick wall.
But I like talking to a brick wall. It's the only thing that doesn't contradict me. Tuppy.
What is it? What is it?
Come here. Darlington has been moralizing and talking about the purity of love and that sort of thing. And this whole time, he's had a woman here in his rooms.
No. Really? Really?
Yes. Here is her fan.
By Jove.
By Jove. Right. I'm really off now, Lord Darlington. I'm sorry you are leaving England so soon. Pray call on us when you get back. My wife and I will be charmed to see you.
I'm afraid I shall be gone for many years. Good night.
Arthur. What? I would like to talk to you. No, do come.
I can't. I'm off.
It is very interesting. You'll find it very amusing.
It is some of your nonsense, Cecil.
It isn't. It isn't, really.
No, my dear boy, you must not go yet. I have a lot to talk to you about, and Cecil has something to show you.
Well, what is it?
Darlington has had a woman here in his rooms. Here is her fan. Amusing, isn't it?
Good God.
What is it?
Lord Darlington?
Yes?
What is my wife's fan doing here in your rooms? Hands off, Cecil. Don't touch me.
Your wife's fan?
Yes, here it is.
I don't know.
You must know. I demand an explanation. Don't hold me, you fool. Speak, sir. Why is my wife's fan here? Answer me, by God. I'll search your rooms, and if my
You
wife...
will not search my rooms. You have no right to do so. I forbid it.
You scoundrel. I'll not leave your rooms till I have searched every corner of it.
Lord Windermere,
Mrs. Erlynne.
I'm afraid I took your wife's fan in mistake for my own when I was leaving your house tonight. I'm so sorry.
So sorry. I came in dreadfully late and didn't like to wake you. You are crying, dear.
Yes, I am crying for... I have something to tell you, Arthur.
Dear child, you are not well. You've been doing too much. Let us go away to the country. You'll be all right at Selby. The season is almost over. There is no use staying on. Poor darling. We can go away today if you like. We can easily catch the 3:40. I'll send a wire to Fennon.
Yes. Let us go away today. No, I can't go today, Arthur. There is someone I must see before I leave town. Someone who has been kind to me.
Kind to you?
Far more than that. I will tell you, Arthur, but only love me. Love me as you used to love me.
Used to? But you're not thinking of that wretched woman who came here last night. But you don't still... No, you couldn't.
I don't. I know now I was wrong and foolish. Look, I don't think now that people can be divided into the good and the bad as though they were two separate races or creations. Or what are called good women may have terrible things in them. You know, mad moods of recklessness, assertion, jealousy, sin. Bad women, as they are termed, may have in them sorrow, repentance, pity, sacrifice. And I don't think Mrs. Erlynne a bad woman. I know she's not.
My dear child, the woman's impossible. No matter what harm she tries to do us, you must never see her again.
But I want to see her. I want her to come here.
Never.
She came here once as your guest. She must come now as mine. That is but fair.
She should never have come.
It is too late, Arthur, to say that now.
Margaret, if you knew where Mrs. Erlynne went last night after she left this house, you would not sit in the same room with her. It was absolutely shameless, the whole thing.
Arthur, I can't bear it any longer. I must tell you. Last night...
Mrs. Erlynne has called to return your ladyship's fan, which she took away by mistake last night. She's left a message on the card.
Ask Mrs. Erlynne to be kind enough to come up. Say I shall be very glad to see her. She wants to see me, Arthur.
Margaret, I beg you not to.
How do you do, Lady Windermere? How do you do? Do you know, Lady Windermere, I am so sorry about your fan. I can't imagine how I made such a silly mistake. Most stupid of me. And as I was driving in your direction, I decided to return your property in person, with many apologies for my carelessness. And of bidding you goodbye.
Goodbye?
Oh, are you going away then, Mrs. Erlynne?
Yes, I am going to live abroad again. The English climate doesn't suit me. My heart is affected here, and that I don't like. I prefer living down south. London is too full of fogs and serious people, Lord Windermere. Whether the fogs produce the serious people or whether the serious people produce the fogs, I don't know, but the whole thing rather gets on my nerves. So I'm leaving this afternoon by the club train.
This afternoon? But I wanted so much to come and see you.
Oh, how kind of you. But I'm afraid I have to go.
Shall I never see you again then, Mrs. Erlynne?
I'm afraid not. Our lives lie too far apart. But there is a little thing I would like you to do for me. I want a photograph of you, Lady Windermere. Would you give me one? You don't know how gratified I should be.
Oh, with pleasure. I'll show it to you.
It is monstrous you're intruding yourself here after your conduct last night.
My dear Windermere, manners before morals.
I'm afraid it is very flattering. I'm not so pretty as that.
You are much prettier. But don't you have one of yourself and your little boy?
I have. Would you prefer one of those?
Yes.
I'll get it for you. If you'll excuse me for a moment, I have one upstairs.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Lady Windermere, to give you so much trouble.
No trouble at all, Mrs. Erlynne.
Thanks so much. You seem rather out of temper this morning, Windermere. Why should you be? Margaret and I get on charmingly together.
I can't bear to see you with her. Besides, you have not told me the truth, Mrs. Erlynne.
I have not told her the truth, you mean?
I sometimes wish you had. I should have been spared then the misery, the anxiety, the annoyance of the last 6 months. But rather than my wife should know that the mother whom she has been taught to consider as dead, the mother whom she has mourned as dead, is living. A divorced woman, going about under an assumed name.
A bad woman, preying upon life, as I know you now to be. Rather than that, I was ready to supply you with money to pay bill after bill, extravagance after extravagance, to risk what occurred yesterday, the first quarrel I have ever had with my wife.
You don't understand what that means to me. How could you? But I tell you that the only bitter words that ever came from those sweet lips of hers were on your account. And I hate to see you next to her. You sully the innocence that is in her.
And there I used to think that with all your faults you are frank and honest. You are not.
Why do you say that?
You made me get you an invitation to my wife's ball.
For my daughter's ball, yes.
You came. And within an hour of your leaving the house, you were found in a man's rooms. You are disgraced before everyone.
Yes.
Therefore, I have the right to look upon you as what you are. A worthless, vicious woman. I have the right to tell you never to enter this house. Never to attempt to come near my wife.
My daughter, you mean?
You have no right to claim her as your daughter. You left her.
Abandoned her when she was but a child in the cradle. Abandoned her for your lover, who abandoned you in turn.
Do you count that to his credit, Lord Windermere, or to mine?
To his, now that I know you.
Take care. You had better be careful.
Oh, not going to mince words for you. I know you thoroughly.
I question that.
I do know you. For 20 years of your life, you lived without your child, without a thought of your child. One day, you read in the papers that she had married a rich man. You saw your hideous chance. You knew that to spare her the ignominy of learning that a woman like you was her mother, I would endure anything. You began your blackmailing.
Don't use ugly words, Windermere. They are vulgar. I saw my chance, it is true, and took it.
Yes, you took it. And spoiled it all last night by being found out.
You were quite right. I spoiled it all last night.
And as for your blunder in taking my wife's fan from here and then leaving it about in Darlington's rooms, it is unpardonable. I can't bear the sight of it now. I shall never let my wife use it again. The thing is soiled for me. You should have kept it and not brought it back.
I think I shall keep it. It's extremely pretty. I shall ask Margaret to give it to me.
I hope my wife will give it you.
Oh, I'm sure she'll have no objections. Oh, don't imagine I'm going to have a pathetic scene with her. Weep on her neck and tell her who I am and all that kind of thing. I have no ambition to play the part of a mother. Only once in my life have I known a mother's feelings. That was last night. They were terrible. They made me suffer. They made me suffer too much. For 20 years, as you say, I have lived childless. I want to live childless still. Besides, my dear Windermere, how on earth could I pose as a mother with a grown-up daughter? Margaret is 21, and I have never admitted that I am more than 29 or 30 at the most. 29 when there are pink shades, 30 when there are not. So you see what difficulties it would involve. No, as far as I am concerned, let your wife cherish the memory of this dead, stainless mother. Why should I interfere with her illusions? I find it hard enough to keep my own. I lost one illusion last night. I thought I had no heart. I find I have.
I am so sorry, Mrs. Erlynne, to have kept you waiting. I couldn't find the photograph anywhere. At last, I discovered it in my husband's dressing room. He had stolen it.
I'm not surprised. It is charming. So that is your little boy. What is he called?
Gerald, after my dear father.
Really?
Yes. If it had been a girl, I would have called it after my mother. My mother had the same name as myself, Margaret.
My name is Margaret, too.
Indeed.
Yes. You are devoted to your mother's memory, Lady Windermere, your husband tells me.
We all have ideals in life. At least we all should have. Mine is my mother.
Ideals are dangerous things. Realities are better. They wound, but they are better.
If I lost my ideals, I should lose everything.
Everything?
Yes.
Did your father often speak to you of your mother?
No. No, it gave him too much pain. He told me how my mother had died a few months after I was born. His eyes filled with tears as he spoke. He then begged me never to mention her name to him again. It made him suffer even to hear it. My father really died of a broken heart. His was the most ruined life I know.
I'm afraid I must go now, Lady Windermere.
Oh, no, don't.
I think I had better. My carriage must have come back by now. I sent it to Lady Jedburgh's with a note.
Arthur, would you mind seeing if Mrs. Erlynne's carriage has come back?
No, pray don't trouble Lord Windermere, Lady Windermere.
Yes. Arthur, do go, please. What am I to say to you? You saved me last night.
Hush, don't speak of it.
I must speak of it. I can't let you think I'm going to allow this sacrifice. I'm not. It is too great. I'm going to tell my husband everything. It is my duty.
It is not your duty. At least you have duties to others besides him. You say you owe me something.
I owe you everything.
Then pay your debt by silence. That is the only way in which it can be paid. Don't spoil the one good thing I have done in my life by telling it to anyone. Promise me that what happened last night will remain a secret between us. You must not bring misery into your husband's life. Why spoil his love? You must not spoil it. Love is easily killed. Oh, how easily love is killed. Pledge me your word, Lady Windermere, that you will never tell him. I insist upon it.
It is your will, not mine.
Your carriage has not come back yet, Mrs. Erlynne.
Makes no matter. I'll take a hansom. There's nothing in the world more respectable than a good Shrewsbury and Talbot. And now, my dear Lady Windermere, I'm afraid it is really goodbye. Oh, I remember. You'll think me absurd. But do you know, I've taken a great fancy to this fan that I was silly enough to run away with last night. Now I wonder, would you give it to me? Lord Windermere says you may. I know it is his present.
Oh, certainly, if it will give you any pleasure. Oh, but it has my name on it. It has Margaret on it.
But we have the same Christian name.
I forgot, of course. Oh, do have it. What a wonderful chance, our names being the same.
Quite wonderful. Thanks. It will always remind me of you.
Lord Augustus Lawton and Mrs. Erlynne's carriage has arrived.
Good morning, dear boy. Good morning, Lady Windermere. Mrs. Erlynne?
How do you do, Lord Augustus? Are you quite well this morning?
quite well, thank you, Mrs. Erlynne.
You don't look at all well. You stop up too late. It is so bad for you. You really should take more care of yourself. Goodbye, Lord Windermere. Lord Augustus, won't you see me to my carriage? You might carry the fan.
Allow me.
Oh, no, I want Lord Augustus. I have a special message for the dear Duchess. Won't you carry the fan, Lord Augustus?
If you really desire it, Mrs. Erlynne.
Of course I do. You'll carry it so gracefully. You would carry off anything gracefully, dear Lord Augustus.
You will never speak against Mrs. Erlynne again, Arthur, will you?
She is better than one thought her.
She's better than I am.
Child, you and she belong to different worlds. Into your world, evil has never entered.
Don't say that, Arthur. You know, there's the same world for all of us, and good and evil, sin and innocence go through it hand in hand. You know, to shut one's eyes to half of life that one may live securely is as though one blinded oneself, that one might walk with more safety in a land of pit and precipice.
Child, why do you say that?
Because I, who had shut my eyes to life, came to the brink, and the one who separated us...
We were never separated.
We never must be again. Oh, Arthur, don't love me less. And I will trust you more. I will trust you absolutely. Let us go to Selby, In the rose gardens at Selby, the roses are white and red.
Arthur, she has explained everything. My dear fellow, she has explained every damn thing. We all wronged her immensely. It was entirely for my sake she went to Darlington's rooms. Called first at the club. Fact is, wanted to put me out of suspense. Being told that I had gone on, followed. Naturally frightened when she heard a lot of us coming in, retired to another room. Oh, I assure you, most gratifying to me, the whole thing. We all behaved brutally to her. She is just the woman for me, suits me down to the ground. The only condition she makes is that we live entirely out of England. Very good thing, too. Damn clubs, damn climate, damn cooks, damned everything. Sick of it all.
Has Mrs. Erlynne...
Yes, Lady Windermere, Mrs. Erlynne has done me the honour of accepting my hand.
Well, he is certainly marrying a very clever woman.
He's marrying a very good woman.